Welcome back to my channel, the channel where we expose the hidden fortunes sitting right inside your pocket change. Today, we are diving into a category of coins that almost every single person watching this video has in their house right now. We are talking about modern Lincoln pennies. Most people believe that if a coin was minted in their lifetime, if it doesn't look ancient, or if it isn't made of silver or gold, it must be completely worthless. That assumption has cost casual collectors and everyday people hundreds of thousands of dollars. People throw these modern pennies into cup holders, vacuum them up from their floor mats, or leave them behind at the cash register without a second thought. But hidden among the billions of ordinary, copper-plated zinc coins are absolute anomalies. These are coins that suffered catastrophic failures on the mint floor, coins that carry microscopic mistakes, and coins that have survived in such perfect condition that their value jumps from 1 single cent to numbers that can change your life. Today, we are going deep into 3 specific modern years that you need to be looking for: 1991, 2009, and 2010. We are going to look at the exact diagnostics, the exact errors, and the shocking auction records that prove modern pocket change is a goldmine if you know what you are looking at. If you want to stop throwing away valuable coins and start building a collection that matters, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Let's jump straight into the first coin, and trust me, it looks just as ugly and ordinary as the one sitting on your kitchen counter. Take a close look at the coin on your screen right now. At first glance, this 1991 Lincoln penny looks absolutely exhausted. The surface is dull, covered in a dark, muddy brown oxidation. You can see tiny little bumps and blisters all over the fields, especially around Lincoln's face and near the date. This happens because the 1991 penny is not solid copper. It is a zinc core covered by a razor-thin layer of copper plating. Over the decades, moisture gets under that plating and causes zinc rot, creating those ugly bubbles. Lincoln's hair is completely flattened, his cheekbone has lost all of its sharp definition, and the rim is rounded and battered from years of being dropped, scraped, and shoved into vending machines. This is a coin that has lived a hard life in circulation. It is the definition of ordinary, and that is exactly why it is so dangerous. When people see a 1991 penny that looks this bad, their brain immediately categorizes it as trash. But serious collectors never judge a coin solely by its surface wear. The year 1991 sits in an era of massive production at the United States Mint. Billions were struck between Philadelphia and Denver. Because they were producing them so fast, quality control was incredibly difficult to maintain. The first thing experienced hunters look for on a 1991 penny is what we call an unplated zinc error. Sometimes, the blank planchet skips the copper plating bath entirely. If you find a 1991 penny that is completely silver in color, not painted, not stripped with chemicals, but genuinely struck on a raw zinc blank, you have found a major mint error. Even in circulated, scratched-up condition, a genuine, unplated 1991 penny can sell for hundreds of dollars. The color alone should stop you in your tracks, but people just assume it's a weird dime and hand it right back to the cashier. But let's get into the die varieties, because this is where you need your magnifying glass. The 1991 pennies are known for subtle but very real double dies. You want to look incredibly closely at the word liberty and the phrase "in God we trust." On a genuine double die obverse from this year, you will see a distinct separation line or a noticeable thickening in the letters. It is not the flat, shelf-like look of machine doubling, which is common and worthless. Real doubling shows actual depth. Even on a heavily worn, brown, blistered coin like the one we are looking at, true doubling does not fade away. It might soften, but the structural mistake is locked into the metal forever. A confirmed double die from 1991, even in rough shape, can bring a premium of $50 to $150. Now, let's turn the volume up and talk about off-metal and wrong planchet errors. Because the mint was producing multiple denominations in the same facility, the hoppers that fed the presses sometimes got cross-contaminated. A small number of 1991 pennies were accidentally struck on planchets intended for Roosevelt dimes. If you find a 1991 penny that is silver in color, slightly smaller than a normal penny, and missing some of the lettering around the extreme edges because the blank was too small for the die, your heart should start racing. These are 6-figure level mistakes from the mint. A 1991 penny struck on a dime planchet, authenticated and graded, can easily cross the $1,000 to $3,000 market auction, even if it has been circulated. Then we have condition rarity. This is the part that shocks everyday people. If you are lucky enough to find a 1991 penny that never saw the inside of a cash register, a coin that was pulled straight from a fresh roll and preserved in a dark, dry environment, the value completely detaches from reality. We are talking about coins that grade mint state 68 or mint state 69 red. Because zinc coins are so prone to spotting, bubbling, and degrading, finding a flawless, blazing red 1991 penny is statistically harder than finding some coins from the 1800s in the same condition. Top-tier, perfectly graded 1991 pennies with no bag marks, full strike details, and original blinding luster have sold at auction for upwards of $4,000 to $5,000. For a penny, made of zinc. This is why on Million Coins, we tell you to never dismiss the modern dates. One perfect roll found in your grandparents' closet could be a down payment on a house. Moving on, we leap forward in time to a year that totally disrupted everything we knew about pocket change. This coin right here is the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial penny, and it is a year that still causes chaos in the collecting world. Let's look at the condition of the coin on the screen. It has a slightly dull, matte-like brown appearance. The copper plating has darkened significantly, picking up a grayish-brown tone from heavy circulation. Lincoln's profile is softened, and the reverse shows clear contact marks and scrapes. This coin has been handled thousands of times, but 2009 is special. It marked the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln Cent itself. To celebrate, the United States Mint did something they had never done before. They released 4 entirely different reverse designs in a single year. They released the birthplace design featuring a log cabin, the formative years design featuring a young Lincoln sitting on a log reading a book, the professional life design showing Lincoln standing in front of the Illinois state capitol, and the presidency design featuring the half-finished Capitol Dome in Washington, D.C. Now, here is the psychological trap most people fall into. Because these coins look different, millions of people hoarded them in 2009. They put them in jars thinking they would instantly be worth a fortune. But as the years passed, people got bored, broke open the jars, and spent them. Today, finding them in circulation is common, and an average circulated 2009 penny is worth exactly 1 cent. But casual collectors stopped paying attention too early, and they missed the massive errors hiding in these specific designs. Let's zero in on the formative years design, the one where Lincoln is sitting on the log reading. This specific reverse design produced one of the most famous and highly sought-after modern errors in numismatics. It is known as the extra fingers double die, because of a massive misalignment during the hubbing process of the dies. Dozens of variations of double dies were created right on Lincoln's hands as he holds the book. If you take a magnifying glass and look at the bottom edge of the book and Lincoln's fingers, you might see what looks like a ghost hand, an extra thumb, or extra fingers protruding from the book's pages. Some are subtle, but some are so dramatic they can be seen with the naked eye. This error is an absolute goldmine. Even on a tired, dirty, brown circulated coin like the one we are examining, if you spot those extra fingers, the value skyrockets. Minor variations can bring $10 to $30, but the strongest, most dramatic extra finger double dies can sell for $100, $200, or even $500 in higher grades. And remember, people are spending these every single day at the grocery store because they don't know to look at Lincoln's hand. But the errors don't stop there. Let's look at the birthplace design, the log cabin. Collectors have found significant double dies on the logs themselves. If you look at the corner of the cabin, you can sometimes find what appears to be extra logs jutting out from the structure. Again, these are bold, undeniable errors that survived the minting process and were released into the wild. Finding an extra log, 2009 penny turns your pocket change into a serious collector's piece, commanding premiums that easily reach into the $50 to $100 range depending on the severity of the doubling. But we also have to talk about the composition and the satin finish varieties. In 2009, the Mint released special uncirculated sets containing pennies struck with a unique, frosted satin finish, and these were made of the original 95% copper alloy, not the cheap zinc used for everyday circulation coins. Over the years, many of these special mint sets were broken open by children or uninformed heirs, and no solid copper, satin finish coins were dumped into circulation. If you find a 2009 penny that feels slightly heavier, sounds different when dropped, and has a smooth, non-reflective matte finish that looks too perfect, you might have pulled a special collector coin right out of circulation. And just like 1991, condition rarity for the standard zinc business strikes is a massive factor. Because the 2009 pennies were highly collected, there are many uncirculated examples out there. But a perfect coin, a coin that grades MS 67 or MS 68 red, those are incredibly rare because the mint's automated sorting machines completely chewed these coins up, covering them in deep gouges and bag marks before they ever left the facility. If you submit a flawless 2009 penny to a grading service and it comes back in MS 68, you are holding a modern masterpiece. Auction records for flawless 2009 pennies from across the four designs routinely cross the $1,000 to $2,500 threshold. That is the emotional punch of modern coin collecting. You are not dealing with ancient history. You are dealing with coins minted just over a decade ago that have already achieved astronomical values because perfection is so incredibly hard to find. And finally, we arrive at the third coin in our lineup, a coin that most people treat with absolute disrespect because it looks like the exact same penny we use today. This is the 2010 Lincoln Shield penny. Take a close look at the surface of this coin. It shows a lighter, brassy brown tone, typical of modern zinc cents that have seen a few years of hard use. The highest points of the shield on the reverse are visibly flattened. The fine vertical lines within the shield have blended together from friction, and the ribbon that reads 1 cent has lost its sharp borders. You can see microscopic zinc rough starting to form tiny dots around the rim, where the copper plating has been compromised by drops and scratches. It is an utterly ordinary, battered modern coin, but you cannot ignore 2010. After the massive celebration of the 2009 Bicentennial designs, the mint needed a permanent new reverse to replace the old Lincoln Memorial. They chose the preservation of the Union Shield design. 2010 is the inaugural year, the very first time the American public saw this new shield. In the coin collecting world, first-year issues are always heavily scrutinized, heavily collected, and most importantly, they are prone to teething problems at the mint. Whenever the mint introduces a brand new design, it takes them time to adjust the striking pressure, the die spacing, and the overall mechanics of the presses. That adjustment period is a breeding ground for errors. The most explosive value driver for the 2010 penny is the double die reverse. Because the shield design has so many fine, straight lines and sharp lettering, when a hubbing error occurs, it is spectacular. You need to flip your 2010 penny over and look directly at the shield. Focus your magnifying glass on the top edge of the shield, the vertical bars, and the lettering in E pluribus unum. A genuine 2010 double die reverse will show intense, distinct thickening of the shield lines. You will see noticeable separation in the letters, where the serifs are split into two clear points. This is not a minor anomaly. Even on a worn, circulated coin like the one we are analyzing, that extra thickness in the shield lines survives the wear and tear. It stands out like a sore thumb once you know what to look for. And let me tell you about the value, because it will make you rethink every penny in your ashtray. A confirmed 2010 double die reverse, depending on the stage and strength of the doubling, can sell for $50, $100, or even $300 in clean, uncirculated condition. People are literally throwing $100 bills into the take-a-penny tray because they don't bother to look at the shield. But doubling isn't the only structural failure that happened in 2010. Because the new shield design required high striking pressure to bring up the details of the vertical lines, the dies were subjected to immense stress. They cracked. They shattered. If you look closely at the reverse of heavily circulated 2010 pennies, you will frequently find die cracks. These look like jagged, raised veins of metal running right through the shield or connecting the letters of United States of America. Sometimes, a piece of the die actually broke off completely, leaving a massive blob of raised metal on the rim, which we call a cud error. If you find a 2010 penny with a large cud attached to the rim, the condition of the coin almost doesn't matter. Error collectors will fiercely bid on these. A large, dramatic cut error on a first-year 2010 shield cent can easily bring $100 to $200 at auction. But we also have to keep our eyes open for off-center strikes. Because billions of these were being pumped out, the feeding mechanisms occasionally jammed. A planchet would slide into the striking chamber off kilter, and the die would smash down, printing the design halfway off the edge of the coin, leaving a blank crescent of copper-plated zinc on one side. Finding a modern off-center strike in circulation is getting harder and harder because automated counting machines usually kick them out. But when they do slip through, they are incredibly striking visually. A 2010 penny struck 20% or 30% off-center, with the full date still clearly visible, is an instant collector's piece worth $50 to $150. And finally, we return to the ultimate chase, perfection. Because the 2010 shield penny is so common, nobody thinks to preserve them. But finding a 2010 penny that is completely free of carbon spots, free of zinc rot, and free of the devastating bag marks caused by the mint's high-speed hoppers is like finding a needle in a haystack. The grading services have evaluated thousands of these, but very, very few ever achieve the legendary MS-68 red grade. When a flawless, perfect 2010 shield cent hits the auction block, it commands absolute premium money. We have seen top population, pristine 2010 pennies cross the auction block for $1,000 to $2,000. It all comes down to eye appeal and the intense desire of registry set collectors to have the single finest known example of a first-year issue. This is the reality of modern coin collecting. The wealth isn't just buried in shipwrecks or locked away in museums. It is circulating through our hands, sitting in our pockets, and hiding at the bottom of our purses. The 1991, the 2009, and the 2010 Lincoln pennies teach us the ultimate lesson of numismatics. Never judge a coin by its face value, and never ignore the modern dates. The mint makes mistakes every single year, and the people who know how to identify those mistakes are the ones cashing in.so the next time you get change from the drive-thru. Don't just dump it blindly into a cup. Take 5 seconds. Look at the date. If you see 1991, check for that unplated zinc look or a double die. If you see 2009, flip it over and check Lincoln's hand for extra fingers or the cabin for extra logs. And if you see 2010, grab your magnifier and look for thickness in the shield lines. You might just be holding a modern artifact worth thousands if you found this deep dive valuable. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve and know exactly what to look for in your everyday pocket change, make sure you are subscribed to Million Coins. We are dedicated to bringing you the most accurate, detailed, and profitable coin hunting secrets on the internet. Hit that like button, share this video with someone who hoards change, and let me know in the comments below what year you want me to investigate next. Until next time, keep your eyes sharp, keep hunting, and remember, your next $1 million discovery could be just one coin away.